Hello and welcome. Today I'd like to share an art journal spread that I'm making in my journal there, as you can see. And I'm just showing you some of the things I've pulled out that I'm planning to use. I may not use everything, but I'm going to start by tearing some of those pages that I have there, papers, and collaging them on my background, because I usually start an art journal spread that way. Sometimes I use papers that are painted, and sometimes I use more neutral colors like that. I went and got a mat to put down on my table because I didn't want to get it all messed up, and I'm putting some deli paper on my journal there so I don't get too messy. I'm planning to drip some paints and inks around the page, so I wanted to protect my journal and my table a little bit anyway. This art journal spread came about in response to the prompt in the Mixed Media Emporium Facebook group. The prompt is Let's Get Arty for this week. We have weekly prompts in this Facebook group, and when I think of getting arty, it usually involves my art journals. So that's what I decided to do, and I wanted to make a background with brighter colors than I normally use, but still use a vintage photo because I do love using vintage photos as well. So I wanted to put these papers in the background and have them show through a little bit. And there's no rhyme or reason to how I'm gluing those down. I just tear and glue papers, as you can see there. I jumped ahead because it's just gluing, tearing, and gluing to how I finish up the page. I don't necessarily need to cover the whole thing for my purposes, but you certainly can. And my paper tore there in the middle, so I just got some masking tape and put it there to cover up the tear, and using extra glue to hold that tape down. So next I'm going to start dripping I'm not going to start dripping, sorry. I'm going to protect my paper with matte medium because that will help the paint move around a lot better instead of just soaking right into the paper. So I could have also used the matte medium underneath instead of the glue stick, but I decided to use my glue stick. So I let that dry, and now I'm going to start dripping. I decided to start with the darker color. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, to start with the lighter or darker color. I never can remember which is better, or maybe it doesn't matter. But that's how I decided to do it. So I have a dropper there because all my sprays eventually get all clogged up, no matter how hard I try not to get them clogged up. But so the dropper works really well. And as you can see, I spritzed it with some water and then moving the color around and just catching some of my drips, cleaning up the middle a little bit so that it usually pools up in the middle and quite too much color. So I need to dry that up a bit. Anyway, I'm using Dina Wakley sprays. The first color was fuchsia. The second color is called cheddar. I love those two colors together. I like these sprays because they are acrylic sprays, which means when they dry, they will be permanent and they won't move around. But in retrospect, I should have let that fuchsia layer dry a little bit before doing the cheddar layer because as you'll see in a couple minutes, the fuchsia got diluted a little bit too much. But that's okay because I just added more and it works fine. And as you can see, I, for reasons unknown, decided to wear a cream-colored sweater to make this journal spread, and I'm really glad. Somehow I was trying to be very careful and I did not get any paint or ink on my sweater, which was amazing. So one of the ways I like to also kind of take up some of the extra paint or ink is with that some kind of paper, as you can see, just blotting the page, and then you can also create some extra collage paper. And this is how I'm adding the fuchsia color back in. Decided to use a paintbrush. I could spread it around a little bit more where I wanted it instead of letting it drip quite as much. And you can see there that I'm getting nervous about my sweater sleeves getting some color on them. So there I am again, just blotting some of that ink, and then I'll let that dry for sure before I move on. Or will I? Let's see. No, I'm going to use pink, light pink next, and then I'll let it all dry. So I decided to use a paint instead of a spray there because I was afraid that the spray wouldn't show up very well and also move stuff around a little bit more than I wanted. And again, with my brush, I can put the paint more precisely to fill in the spots that I thought needed some color. So I really like these colors together. Now, you may be thinking this just looks like a big old mess, and right now it is, but this is what I often do with the background, is kind of make a mess with color and then start to unify it. And the way I unify it is usually by adding black and or white with usually with stencils. I like to use stencils a lot. So I'm going to let that background dry, but I'm pretty happy with it. Now I'm going to use one of my toys that I recently picked up in this pink color. It's by Posca and it's called a mopper. And I just love the way it looks. I love the color. It's also awesome. And you can see that somehow some white rectangles or squares have appeared on my page. I thought I was recording, but I guess I wasn't. So I just added some white paint with one of my sponges, and you'll see right there I'm doing it on my extra paper there because I had extra paint, and of course I didn't want to waste my paint, and I'm creating my lovely other collage paper. So that's how I did the white rectangles, and I'm just getting rid of some more extra paint there. I really don't like to waste paint if I don't have to. So I decided, instead of using black on this background, I decided to use Payne's Gray, which is a very dark blue. And it may look, I'm not sure, it may look black there, but it's actually a really dark, like a navy blue. Dark navy blue. Anyway, I pulled out that stencil, and I thought that color would look nice with what I had going so far, and I do like it together. I think it makes a nice contrast. And so I just stencil around, just kind of not really thinking too much about it, and just putting it here and there, going off the page a little bit. And until I'm happy with what I've done. I also wanted to mention that when I wasn't recording and doing the white, I also scribbled with my pencil that you see there on the right hand side. I just did some scribbles all around the page. So now I have my extra paint. I'm going to add it to my lovely paper there that is turning out to be quite nice, I think. And anyway, so if you don't like scribbling in the background, you can always add some stamping or something like that. I mean, there are lots of different things you could do, but that's the scribbling is what I like to do these days a lot. So there's my photo, and it's actually from a magazine I had, an old, I don't know, magazine. And I love that photo with the little boy there. He's roller skating and fell down, and the three girls are just standing there watching him. I thought it worked well with my background, so I'm just going to glue it down to my burlap fabric that I decided to put there too. I could have used paper also behind the photo, or nothing at all really, but I decided to do the burlap, and I thought that would also add a nice contrast and kind of pull it together a bit. So as you can see there, I jumped way ahead. I took it to my sewing machine. I did some really wonky stitching there around my photo, and then I'm going to glue that down on my page there on the left side. I'm going to glue some words on the right side. The words say better an oops than a what if, and they came from a pad of words that I have by Art by Marlene. And I really like the way those words kind of pull together the more, I would say, modern background with the vintage photo. So I'm just going to distress my words a little bit. The background's very stark white, so I'm adding some brown distress ink to the edges and also a little bit on the top, you'll see. Just to make it not quite so stark white. I don't know. I usually don't like things that are too, I like things distressed is what I'll say. So I put my water jars there just to hold that photo. Burlap fabric doesn't seem to glue down as quickly as other things do. So I'm just going to add my words, and that's pretty much my project. I'm going to leave a link down below to the Mixed Media Emporium Facebook group if you're interested in joining. You do have to answer all the questions if you'd like to join, or your request will be denied. So there's my project, my art journal spread. I hope you liked it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.